好，欢迎收看新闻观测站，我是胡婉玲。那么，由当年蔡同荣、彭明敏、王贵荣、陈寒山等台湾民主前辈们在美国所创立的台湾人公共事务会 FAPA。41年来，在美国为台湾倡议以及游说，推动台美各方面的交流和合作，还促成了许多美国国会有台的法案和决议案的通过。那么，有位 FAPA 的工作伙伴长期参与，而且见证了 FAPA 的努力与成果。他就是来自荷兰的昆布劳先生 ，Mr. Coen Blaauw。昆布劳先生呢，在 FAPA 以及这个游说组织 FAPR 服务呢，长达了33年。他要执行许多游说的细节，各中的艰辛呢，想必他的感受是最深刻的。那么这一集节目就在这个 FAPA 41周年的前夕呢，他来到台湾，我们特别邀请他来到我们节目现场现身说法，来说说他自己故事，也说说 FAPA 的故事。欢迎 Mr.
Blaauw。Hello. My name is Coen Blaauw, Guashi Coen Blaauw, Guashi Taiwan Kiasai, and I'm very happy to be on Formosa TV today.
Okay.
Thank you for having me over.
Okay. 台湾 Kiasai 就是意思是他娶的是台湾老婆哈。So, Mr. Blaauw, could you please introduce your role at FAPA?
Yep. I came from Holland, Amsterdam in 1989. I'm an international lawyer. I studied Taiwan very closely when I went to law school, and I came to the University of Maryland, got a job, and now I'm the executive director of the FAPR, as you already said. And what I do is I write legislation, I talk to members of Congress, anything to help Taiwan become a more normal country.
Okay. As a foreigner, as someone from Netherlands, how did you join FAPA?
I joined FAPA because I feel I needed to do something important with my life. I feel Taiwanese people need help. I felt that it's something we need to work together towards. And I joined FAPA in 1989 in its headquarters staff.
Oh.
And I've been lobbying for Taiwan independence since 1989, and we are still fighting day by day, every day a little bit stronger, every day a little bit more, until Taiwan is a really normal, fully independent country.
可能对我们国内的观众朋友不是那么熟悉台湾人公共事务会是 FAPA， 它另外有一个组织是 FAPR， 比较是从事游说的工作，所以我在这要请教这个 Mr. Blaauw, do you mainly work for FAPA or FAPR?
Yeah, we have two organizations,
yes.
FAPA and FAPR. And FAPR is the completely independent lobby arm of FAPA. And so what I do is everything is related to Congress and the White House and the State Department, the administration. And so we needed establish an organization which is focused completely on lobbying the administration and both houses of Congress, the House and the Senate.
So you work for these two organizations?
Yes, 50-50.
50-50.
Yeah.
Do you get two salaries?
2 half salaries, yes.
2 half salaries,
yes.
Combined as
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Okay. You must have many exciting lobbying experiences. Could you please share a memorable lobbying?
Yeah, I'm very proud of what I did very early on in my career. Is that up till 1994, Taiwanese immigrants coming to the United States had to list birthplace China in their Taiwanese American passports. And we fixed that with legislation on Capitol Hill so that from 1994 on, every Taiwanese American can list birthplace Taiwan. So that was very emotional for my members who said, I'd rather burn my American passport than have a passport which says birthplace China in it. And so that was a very emotional moment for my members. And additionally, we also did the Taiwan Travel Act, which is very famous, which lifts all the restrictions on high-level visits from and to Taiwan. Officially, theoretically, President Tsai should be able to come to Washington today based on that Taiwan Travel Act. but it needs a little more time to be fully implemented. But that is another one that we're very proud of as Taiwanese American organization, as a grassroots organization, that we helped to make that happen again, to make Taiwan a more normal country.
好，我在这里也要补充说明一下啊，很多国人对于就是说在官场上有官说，但是我们现在今天讲的是 lobby， 是这个游说。游说是一个非常专业的行为，也有它的法律规范哈，不是跟官说是不一样的。这个游说是英文叫 lobby 哈。For most Taiwanese, lobbying Congress is unfamiliar territory.
Yeah.
Can you share us your secret to successful lobbying?
I think the secret to success for lobbying is that we have a great product to sell. We sell freedom, human rights, democracy, self-determination for the people of Taiwan. I've never met a member of Congress who says, I don't support freedom, human rights, democracy, self-determination for Taiwan.
Okay.
So it's a very easy product to sell. And the second reason, if I may add, is that we are a grassroots organization. That means that we have thousands of members all over the United States, from Miami to Seattle and from San Diego to New York and everywhere in between. And these members of Congress, we see like an army of ants who all go talk to their elected representatives and senators and ask them to speak out for Taiwan.
Have you ever met someone said, oh, Taiwan's too small, or they said, oh, we are afraid of China, so
Yes.
I dare not to speak with you?
Yeah, it has happened to me before where somebody says, but how about China? What will China do? What will China say?
And how would you react?
I always say that we are not anti-China, but we are pro-Taiwan. So the United States can work with China, but it doesn't mean it cannot also help Taiwan. If I say that to members of Congress, that if it were not for the United States, Taiwan would be part of China today. And the United States created that little pearl that Taiwan is, but we need to rub it more often. And again, now today, really everybody supports Taiwan in Congress. It's the best time we ever had in U.S.-Taiwan relations. And so we are really, very fortunate what Taiwan looks like today and the support it gets in the United States and the rest of the world today. This is the best time for Taiwan and for Taiwan independence.
昆布劳先生呢，其实在这个 FAPA 组织服务已经33年了哦，所以他所经历的事情也其实是非常的多哦。我们接下来要请教他在这个过程当中经历过哪些他记得的，或者是说通过哪些哦。2018 Taiwan Travel Act is one of your significant accomplishments at FAPA, right?
That's correct.
What other pro-Taiwan issue or bills have you promoted in the past?
Yeah, so FAPA is also an opinion leader. That means that we have come up with a lot of ideas during my time, over the past 35 years, that we initiated. For instance, United Nations for Taiwan campaign, WHO for Taiwan campaign. We seek to, state that the Taiwan Relations Act of 1979 and President Reagan's 6 assurances, that they are the cornerstone of U.S.-Taiwan relations. And these bills passed both houses unanimously. And so there's a lot of stuff that we did in the past, and especially, as I said, as an opinion leader, where we came up with new ideas, novel ideas, which were very controversial in the beginning, like WHO, World Health Organization for Taiwan, but have become mainstream today. The other thing we're working on, for instance, is also to change the name of the embassy, unofficial embassy of Taiwan in Washington, D.C., from TECRO, Taipei Economic Cultural Representative, to Taiwan Representative Office, a name that will lend more dignity and respect to the 23 million people of Taiwan. And so that is all slowly but surely moving forward.
欢迎再回到新闻观测站的节目现场。我们今天的节目非常特别，正值今年呢，疫情已经退去了。那么，台湾人公共事务会呢 ，FAPA 呢，这举行41周年的纪念会啊，在台湾举行。那么，一位呢为 FAPA 组织呢代表台湾在美国国会呢进行游说的 Mr. Coen Blaauw。先生呢，已经在 FAPA 工作了33年，今天特别来到我们节目现场接受我们专访啊。那么我们知道他即将要退休，所以呢，他把握这机会听听他有关于游说。我就说，其实这游说呢是有专法制定，而且是一个非常专业的行为。那个在这个法案上进行游说，对于台湾友好的这个层次，他刚才也说明了过去他经历过的哪一些活动哦。其实很多人不知道，Mr. Blaauw 呢。是位台湾女婿，所以他跟台湾的渊源呢非常的深。我们在这里就是继续请教 Mr. Blaauw. I heard that you have a deep connection with Taiwan, and especially when during your youth you've been visiting Taiwan multiple times, right?
Mm-hmm. That's correct. Yes, my uncle worked for Philips Electronics in the Hsinchu Science Park, and so with my whole family, we went there twice to visit him, and it was my first experience visiting Taiwan. And my father was a airline pilot for the KLM, the KLM Dutch Airlines, and so we flew with the whole family, 12 people, first class to Taipei, and that was my first experience with Taiwan. And it has been a love relationship ever since.
So you speak Mandarin?
I don't, unfortunately. No, my wife is Taiwanese.
Yeah.
Guashi Taiwan Kiansai, but she never taught me enough Taiwanese, except a couple of words here and there. Okay. But I'm not fluent.
Okay. Since you are married to a Taiwanese girl, how did you bump into each other?
She was an intern at the Taiwan Lang Kongchong Subue. And it was always my policy never to date any of my coworkers. But I, at some point, thought, if I don't say anything, I will regret it the rest of my life. And so we've been together for close to 25 years. But don't tell my president of FAPA that, that's how we met, because it's a secret.
Oh.
Not kidding.
And I heard that you are the first staff and also first full-time staff member at FAPA.
It's true. Yeah, when I was hired in 1989, Peng Ming had just left FAPA as the president, and there was no staff. And so I was hired for $1,200 per month, which was a lot of money at the time for me, to come work full-time for FAPA. And I always wanted to do some job that I felt was important. And that's meaningful and worthwhile. So I did that. But then I was the only staffer for about 2 years. And then we had interns, like Xiao Bi Kim was my intern. You know, Xiao Bi Kim, the ambassador. And
she was intern there.
Yeah, she was my intern in 1991. And
now
so,
she's ambassador.
Yeah, so we tell every new intern, we say, someday you can become the ambassador of Taiwan.
Really? You did say that?
DC. Yes, we say that.
Yeah.
And another intern became a famous movie director who did the film Formosa Betrayed about 15 years ago. So, we have a lot of talented staff at FAPA. Yeah. And so, yes, I've been, was the only staff, and then gradually we hired more people, and today we still have a small staff, but it's really, we're very effective, and people who visit FAPA office are always surprised. They think we have a big building, just like Formosa TV, with a lot of staff, but we're a very small organization with very small staff. But again, our strength is the grassroots, 3,000 families, the army of ants who all together move the mountain.
Okay. As the only staff member, how did you build strong relationships with members of Congress?
It was a challenge because, of course, I'm from Holland, Amsterdam, and if I would go into an office, they say, why is a guy from Holland coming to talk on Capitol Hill to American members of Congress about Taiwan. But I think with just using smart ways and, just talking to members of Congress, I've always been successful, and we managed to make a lot of difference for Taiwan. And I will also like to add that it is important on Capitol Hill if you do an unselfish lobby, meaning that I don't lobby to become rich or famous or, bill my clients. It's not for me for the money. I do this for my akong and ama in Taipei. I do it for somebody else. So we call it's an unselfish lobby. And so, as I said earlier, with the great product, easy product that we sell, and the grassroots capacity, and an unselfish lobby, I think that is a secret to success for what FAPA has accomplished over the past. I think we are the 6th most effective country lobby after the Israelis, and after the Canadians, the Mexicans, probably the Ukrainians at the moment, but we are the 6th most effective lobby country on Capitol Hill. So we're very proud of that.
昆布劳先生啊，刚才特别讲了，他是作为这个 FAPA 在美国华府啊这个组织里面的唯一一位，也是当初是第一位的正式职员。那刚刚提到这个萧美琴大使在年轻的时候在那里当过实习生哈。不过我们要讲，其实昆布劳先生是位外国人啊，可是他也因为在 FAPA 工作呢，在早年呢曾经被台湾政府列为黑名单哈，是没有办法进入台湾的。To Taiwan, you are foreigner. And however, you were blacklisted and not allowed to enter Taiwan for a long time. Even Taiwan's lifted martial law, you were still not allowed into Taiwan. Why?
Yeah. So when I joined FAPA in August 1989, and I went to Taiwan to the elections in December 1989, and I was immediately put on the blacklist. And so one of the first issues I worked on Capitol Hill was trying to get Congress to support lifting the blacklist for Taiwanese Americans. And so Congress held hearings, legislation, and indeed Taiwan's government, the Kuomintang government, decided to lift the blacklist. So I went to the Taiwan embassy in Washington, D.C., and I said, blacklist is lifted. When can I go? And they say, yeah, we lifted the blacklist, but not for you, Blaauw. And so it took me 7 more years to be able to come back to Taiwan.
Which year you came back to
1997.
1997. That's the year Formosa TV established.
Yeah, and I met with President Lee at the time, Lee Teng-hui. I met with him, and so that took me off the blacklist. And I don't think that you know that, and a lot of people don't know that, but we also did a lot of promotion on Capitol Hill to get a new TV station in Taiwan. That's how Formosa TV came about. Because there were only Kuomintang TV stations, I think 3 stations. And so we got members of Congress to say, we need a free and democratic, unbiased TV station, which is not connected with the Kuomintang authoritarian government. And so that got a lot of promotion on Capitol Hill and a lot of news coverage in Taiwan. And I believe that's planted the seeds for a new Taiwan TV station, which was not the KMT, Kuomintang station. And that is what we are very proud of, that we helped establish in a way, plant the seeds for the new TV station. And that's what I said. We did a lot of things, where we say, if Capitol Hill sneezes, Taiwan catches a cold. So we made sparks and created fire so that the government in Taiwan would say, okay, if the United States wants that, then, we're going to do it. And that's how FTV came about in the early 90s, mid-90s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, members of Congress were very supportive of the idea of a new TV station. And of course, Tsai Tung-rong came to Washington, D.C. many times to promote the idea.
At that time, that's our President Lee to visit USA.
Yeah.
So the authorities agree FTV.
Yes, the authorities felt so much pressure from America that they said, okay, we're allowing a non-Kuomintang affiliated station, and that became FTV.
Yeah.
And talking about Lee Teng-hui, that in 2005, Lee Teng-hui was no longer president, but he came to Washington, D.C., and he trusted FAPA, the Taiwan Lang Kongchong Subue, so much that he asked us to set up his trip.
Oh, really?
Week-long trip.
Really?
So he didn't ask the embassy, and he didn't ask lobby firms. He asked FAPA to set it up.
Yeah, and that means he trusted you.
Because he trusted us, and he loved us, and he thought that we could do the best job. And so we did a big reception in Congress for Lee Teng-hui. And members of Congress, I remember one member of Congress from California, he said, you know, that some people might call you, President Lee, a troublemaker. But in the United States, we put up statues for troublemakers. And so that was, you know, Lee Teng-hui's success story. And we took him to Independence Avenue. We took him to Independence Hall. All these, you know, places where we felt, especially at that time in 2005, where we should promote independence and make Taiwan independence a more normal word. Because at that time it was kind of, you know, before that, these days, it was kind of a word you couldn't say. But we just did all that, and he was very happy. We did a press conference for him, you know, members of Congress. We showed him a special tour to the Constitution of the United States, because we feel that Taiwan needs a new constitution. And so we did all that symbolism with President Lee, and he was very excited. He was very grateful.
So all your memory about FAPA for 33 years, actually this is a history. Could be listed as a historical book.
Yep.
I heard that you, since you have worked at FAPA for 33 years, and you plan to retire this year.
You have very good spies.
I'm a reporter.
No, I don't plan to retire this year, but this is my 34th year with FAPA. And I plan to retire next year.
Are there any projects or you want to complete before retiring?
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest challenge for me at the moment, and we've been working on it for a while, I have to admit, but I believe that, you know, before I leave, I want to see TECRO's name have a new name that reflects the country and not just the capital of Taipei. I hope that we can change the TECRO's name to Taiwan Representative Office, which is a name we can use in 196 countries around the world. In Holland, we can call it the Taiwan Representative Office. We don't need to call it the Amsterdam Trade Office. In France, we don't need to call it the Paris Trade Office. I really want to have one name for all countries that all countries can use around the world, and which again gives dignity and respect for the people of Taiwan. President Lee always says that, you know, the people of Taiwan are orphans, and the sadness of the people of Taiwan. I think I like to see that come to an end, and I like to see the people of Taiwan be proud of their country and don't be paiseh, as we say in Taiwanese. Don't feel sorry. I want people of Taiwan to be more aggressive, speak out, be proud of their country, stand up for Taiwan, and be more, you know, feel proud to be Taiwanese. And I think changing the name of that embassy, that representative office, to Taiwan Representative Office, I think will contribute to that.
What beers are FAPA promoting recently, and which ones are mostly likely to pass?
Yeah, there is a bill we had for changing the name of TECRO. There is a bill which makes the director of the American Institute in Taiwan which is the U.S. ambassador to Taiwan, have him confirmed by the Senate. Every ambassador of every country around the world is confirmed by the Senate, has a hearing in the Senate. Why not the ambassador, the U.S. ambassador to Taiwan? Taiwan is not like Bermuda or like Holland or like Belgium, countries where nobody cares about. Nothing ever happens in Holland. But the Taiwan Strait is one of the flashpoints in the world. We need the best person to come to Taipei and represent the United States here. And so we feel that we need to have the director of the AIT, American Institute in Taiwan, who after all is an ambassador, let him be confirmed by the Senate, just like any other ambassador. So that is something we're trying to work on at the moment also. And finally, we have 2 letters at the moment from members of Congress. We always have to decide, are we going to do legislation or are we going to do letters? Are we going to do a statement from a senator, a speech on the floor? And so there are 2 issues that we're working on at the moment. And that is that we believe that President Tsai should come to the APEC, Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit in San Francisco in November.
You think she should? But
she should.
Could she?
Now, it's up to the United States or any host of the APEC summit to invite who will come. You know, so Morris Chang from TSMC.
Do you know the answer?
No, we're trying to convince the State Department to just say, yeah, we can invite who we want. We're not letting China decide who we can invite to the United States to join the San Francisco summit of the APEC. And so we're going to see if we can make that happen. The other issue we're trying to work on with some members of Congress who are big Taiwan supporters in California, they believe that the foreign minister of Taiwan, Joseph Wu Jiaxie, that he should come before the House Foreign Affairs Committee to participate in a hearing and to celebrate the best U.S.-Taiwan relations that we have today. And if he cannot come physically, he should at least come virtually.
Via internet?
Via the internet, just like President Tsai has done to democracy summits in Denmark and other countries, because then he will be in Washington, D.C., on Capitol Hill, in the Capitol, but also not really. So we believe that these are 2 issues that we're working on at the moment, which I think will be successful.
欢迎再回到新闻观测站的节目现场。我们今天的节目非常特别，特别邀请到的是台湾人公共事务会 FAPA 的执行长来到我们节目现场。他谈到过去一直到最近啊，那么他这34年的这个在 FAPA 的工作经验呢，其实我可以看得出 FAPA 的阶段性使命是不太一样的。早期呢 ，FAPA 致力于很多敦促台湾能够进入民主化程序的过程哦，那是很艰辛，尤其早年是在这个威权时期哦，并不容易哦，尤其在戒严之前是相当困难的。到现在呢，开始推动跟美国对美国国会游说，希望能推动美国通过一些对台湾友好的法案哦。那么今天来到节目现场，他也侃侃而谈，我们要继续请教他哦。Recently, there have been more pro-Taiwan bills in Congress than ever before. Why has support for Taiwan become so strong?
Unfortunately, I have to say, the reason why the support for Taiwan is so strong is because nobody cares anymore what China thinks. In the past, people were always concerned about China and about China's response and China's reaction. But I think President Trump established a new system where members of Congress think we're so tired of China and we're so tired of China bullying us, bullying Taiwan, bullying the United States whenever they can. So the relationship between China and the United States is so bad at the moment that members of Congress just think they're tired of China and they want to help Taiwan.
Okay.
And so one of the other bills we're working on is that we try to establish U.S.-Taiwan diplomatic relations. That is the dream of my members, the number one dream. And of course, it is a long shot. It's not easy, but there is still hope, because members of Congress say, if U.S.-China relations are so bad that it really doesn't matter anymore, it cannot get any worse, that is the moment when the United States will say, okay, we'll establish diplomatic relations with Taiwan. Just like Ronald Reagan said, and many members of Congress have said over the past years. But that chorus, that momentum for U.S.-Taiwan diplomatic relations is growing. And I like also to send a quick shout out to my friends at TechRo at the embassy, who also do a lot of congressional affairs and who also are very active on Capitol Hill. But we take pride at FAPA in doing things that are a little bit more assertive, which are a little bit more new and daring. And because they are the embassy, we are an American organization. Nobody complains to us and say, you cannot do that. But so that's why we do stuff. As I always say, we like to rock the boat. And I think TechRo is more an organization that tries to keep the boat steady. And we try to rock the boat, and we try to move, and we try to really, do things for Taiwan that really help Taiwan become a more normal country.
Most Taiwanese people want stronger relation between Taiwan and the USA, but some people hold a different view. Very little people. Yeah. But they say that relying on the U.S. will result in the bad outcome for Taiwan. And what's your take on this?
My take on that is that these people are traitors, people who say that we cannot rely on the United States. It's common sense to see that if you want to be a democracy like Taiwan is and aspires to be, then the United States is our most important friend. And so these people who think if they love China more than they love the United States, then they should just move to China. But we need the United States. The United States and Japan are the sole guarantors of freedom and democracy for the people of Taiwan. And I always think it's ironic that Taiwan has a lot of diplomatic friends, like 15, 16 left. But the real friends are the ones like the United States, like Japan, who don't have diplomatic relations, but who care about Taiwan, who honestly, deeply care, genuinely care.
But China has formal diplomatic relations with the U.S. To your knowledge, does China need to lobby the U.S. as well?
China does a lot of lobbying. They have,
Even they have normal relations.
They have normal relations, but just like Israel lobbies the United States. But I'd like to add that they have 42 lobbyists at the Chinese embassy in Washington, D.C., but my sources say that these lobbyists are all very frustrated because every time they go to Capitol Hill, somebody says, how about the Uyghurs? How about the Tibetans? How about the persecution of Catholics? How about the bullying of Taiwan? How about the blockade of Taiwan? How about the Laogai prison camps?
So that's how they carry out their lobbying.
They lobby for these issues, but they lobby so heavy-handed, and members of Congress are so tired of their nonsense that all these lobbyists are really very frustrated about the lack of support they receive from Congress. Unlike Taiwan, we always get what we want. We Taiwanese.
We believe the USA must care about Taiwan's upcoming presidential election. Do they have an ideal candidate, preferred candidate?
I believe they do.
Which one?
I believe that President Tsai, the past 8 years, has done such a fantastic job of keeping the Taiwan Strait free and steady, that she has set a precedent for a successor. Like, I believe that Lai Ching-te is the preferred candidate for the next upcoming elections. Because I think Taiwanese, have spoken for the past 8 years, and I believe that the United States doesn't really trust the Kuomintang candidates, that they will sell out Taiwan to China, although it's not something which the United States will allow to happen. They will make sure that Taiwan stays, as we say, the unsinkable aircraft carrier, especially for strategic reasons. They want to keep Taiwan free. That's U.S. interest. So I'm sure that the United States favors Lai Ching-te.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that's not our opinion as FAPA. Because
Does he need to visit the USA?
We have a tradition of hosting welcome receptions for presidential candidates over the past decades, like Xie Xiangting, Su Tseng-chang, Tsai Ing-wen twice. And we hope that we will be able to do a reception for Lai Ching-te as well this year, hopefully. But the problem, of course, because he is vice president, that he has some trouble being allowed to come to Capitol Hill. But we feel that the State Department should say that it's fair for Taiwan to Lai Ching-te to let him come to Washington, D.C. And if the KMT candidate can come, then Lai Ching-te should come as well. And we look forward to hosting his reception if he decides to, if he can come.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Blaauw. Thank you for joining us today, and wish you have a pleasant stay in Taiwan.
Ben Keiki.
Ben Keiki， 要讲台语哦。好，谢谢各位观众朋友，下周同一时间再会了。